Welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Myra. I am here with Wendy. Welcome.
Hi, Myra. I'm saying Happy New Year, even though the month of January is almost over.
I know. And, I got so busy in December that I neglected to put our last segment in. I did it, I think, earlier this week or last week. So I'm a little behind. So sorry, everybody. Sorry. I'm trying to catch up. But it's so good to be with you again. We're going to be scheduling some future sessions later on when we're done here. So we are going to keep going. As long as there's questions, we're going to keep asking.
Right. And, just really opening it up for other people to send us questions that they would like to have answered, right?
Yes,
Love,
that's right.
love to engage people that way.
Yes, please don't be shy. You can always leave comments wherever you see this, and we read the comments. And if it's a good, juicy question, we will certainly ask Metatron. How's
Yes.
Metatron these days?
Well, he's doing really well, right? He always says there's no way for him to be but good, right? So yeah, he's doing good. I took actually a 6-month break shortly after Thanksgiving to take care of myself, some health
Mhm.
challenges. And he was busy in the background just talking about this year and how to prepare and all kinds of good stuff. So it's
Beautiful.
going to be a beautiful year. Beautiful, intense,
Mm,
but beautiful for our growth, right?
I love that. I'll ask him about 2024 again, see what he'd like to add, um, how we can, what to look for, right? Yeah. What to pay attention to.
Right. He's been very big on mindfulness. I'm teaching a year-long program right now,
Yeah.
and they're bringing information about mindfulness, and they say it's like mystery school 101, that
Mm.
in the mystery schools young people would come in to study, and the first thing that they learned how to do was wash their hands mindfully. And so Metatron's been giving homework: chew mindfully, bathe mindfully, and be mindful of your self-talk. And I'll tell you what, if you think you're a mindful person, just sit down to eat your meal with no TV, no book, no cell phone, and be present with your chewing.
Yes. Mindful eating. Yeah.
It's easier said than done. So, sometimes I just really have to laugh at myself. So it's been
Wow. Yeah. My sister is a mindfulness teacher. And one of the things that she said, yeah, it was about when you're mindful about what you're eating, it's not just what's the flavors and what's in your mouth. It's also the appreciation of, okay, let's say you're eating corn, right? And you're not just tasting the corn, having appreciation. Now let's take it further back. Where did this corn come from? And
yes,
who were the hands that grew the corn? Who were the people that picked the corn? Who were
right.
the people that drove that corn, right, to
Right.
the store? And so, being in gratitude for all involved before it comes
Right.
to you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then did you mindfully prepare the food, and did your body was your body mindfully saying, I would like corn? I mean, mindfulness, it can get overwhelming when you think of being mindful of everything, because that's layer after layer after layer.
That's right.
So I think Metatron's trying to be simple for me. Just start with your chewing.
Sure. Sure. Of
No, start
course.
with your chewing. Start with your bathing, right? And
Wow.
your self-talk.
Mm, I love that. All right. Well, I am ready for Metatron. Let's bring
All
him
right,
in.
good. I'm gonna, pardon me, take a sip of water with my new cool.
Oh, that is so cute and so appropriate for Valentine's.
That was Christmas present actually from my son.
Sweet.
Yeah, really sweet. All right, here we go.
All right. I'm already feeling him. All right. So we are just going to pause as she brings Metatron in.
All right, good day to you.
Good day, Metatron.
Good to see you, beloved one.
You too. I've missed you.
We have missed you as well. Uh, it seems like it has been quite a while, but it has also gone very fast, yes?
Yes, yes, it is. I'm a grandmother now.
Know that you are. And what a blessing. It is one of the best things, isn't it?
It sure is. It's proven to be.
Yes. And many times grandmothers are able to love their grandbabies in a different way
Yeah.
than they did their children. And
Hmm.
it is such a blessing. So congratulations on
Thank you. Thank you.
lucky baby.
Thank you. Yes. There's so much I want to teach her and talk to her about. Sh-
Indeed.
She may teach me, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, that is a possibility. So she holds a really strong power core. And I don't know if you're already witnessing that, but she will be strong and she will be grounded and she will have a presence.
Mm,
Uh,
thank
you
you.
Through that, she will probably be a beautiful teacher, right?
I love that. Thank you.
Did
All right. Well, we have got some great questions for you today.
did.
All right. So let's begin with a follower question. We had discussed exit strategies and how we have many exit strategies. Can you explain why someone would choose to experience Alzheimer's?
Mm, mhm, mhm. Well, what is not so understood within Alzheimer's, dementia, those types of things, is that the experience for the soul, because it's about the soul, right?
Mhm.
The experience for the soul is a very inward journey. When Alzheimer's is present, dementia is present, it's not so much the outward journey, the doing anymore. The soul draws all of its energy inward and it's having the experience of being. Now, just because those that are in observance don't um, believe that their loved ones are growing or anything like that, there is always evolution happening, even through a disease like Alzheimer's, right?
Mm.
There's always growth and evolution happening. Yeah. It is that there is going to be some great strides made in the next couple of years on ways to assist people to uh, mitigate some of those symptoms.
Oh,
And eventually, probably within the next 10 years, there will be a uh, medication that will help to reverse or prevent
oh,
these Alzheimer's. Yeah.
oh,
But
that is amazing.
they're working on it very diligently. Yeah.
Hmm.
And it
Beautiful.
and it kind of goes hand in hand with dementia. It looks like the haha is going to be made with dementia, and then it will kind of cross over into what is the Alzheimer's treatment as well. So
Hmm.
the families and loved ones of those that have Alzheimer's, we send you blessings. We know that it is difficult. And we ask you just to remember that your loved one is still living, still present, but in a different way. So do your best to continue to love them, right? And hold space for them as they move through this. Mhm.
Hmm. Thank you.
Indeed. The love is always felt.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, when when you were mentoring me for many years, um, one of the things that I know you had mentioned was the importance of Epsom salt baths.
Mhm.
Can you talk about the benefits? And let's be clear how much Epsom salt should actually go. Yes, don't be cheap here, right? We
All
have to
right.
be generous to the Epsom salt, okay?
All right. So, technically, in a bathtub of water, you would want a minimum of 1 cup of Epsom salts. Uh, Probably no more than two. It would get a little slippery. And
Mhm,
there's multiple benefits of soaking in Epsom salts. If you can't submerge in a tub, then soak your feet, right? Because Epsom salts is magnesium crystals. And most everyone is magnesium deficient. And one of the most beneficial ways to get the magnesium is through the skin. It's hard on the belly if you're taking a tablet, but when you soak, the skin takes in the magnesium that's needed, and it is helpful in lots of diseases, not only aches and pains, but lots of physical symptomology is helped just by soaking in Epsom salts. That's the physical, right? The spiritual and the energetic is that Epsom salts not only clears the physical body, but it clears the energy field of any lower vibrational frequency or toxicity. It's a detox, right? And so, in that way, it's very helpful if you've been in a situation where there's, you know, bad energy, lower vibrational frequency, to take the Epsom salt bath and go ahead and clear that on out. And give yourself some magnesium at the same time, right?
mhm.
Oh, yeah. About a
Beautiful.
about a 20-minute soak.
Okay. Okay.
That's helpful.
Yes, yes, it's helpful. And when the light language within me, when it really just popped open, I was guided to take a bath, and I heard it loud and clear, get in the tub. And I did. And of course, I put some Epsom salt in there, and it was quite a ceremony. It was quite a ceremony.
Oh,
And it just was like a switch that turned on. And I'm just so grateful to you because I know that you saw that I would be utilizing light language in my practice. And you, again, you really encouraged it. And I am forever grateful to you for that.
our honor to assist.
Mhm. Yes. All right. What about the third eye?
Ah,
Right?
what about the
Let's talk
food?
about it. Where it's why is it so closed? And what can we do to open it? Right? Is there exercises? Is there things to avoid eating, using that are, to blame?
Mm. Well, part of the function of the third eye or the ajna, right, is the pineal and the pituitary, which are in the center of the brain, a very small master gland, but it receives the light and works in conjunction not only with the crown chakra, but the third eye as well. If the pineal and pituitary has crystallization on the outside of it, it doesn't vibrate uh, like it really should. So clearing the pineal and the pituitary is one way to assist your psychic awareness, to be open. One way to do that is with tone, light language, tuning forks, those types of
Mm.
things, running energy, and with the image that you're just clearing and cleaning the pineal and the pituitary, then you'll notice that it starts to move a little bit more in the center of
Oh,
the brain, right? That's one thing, right? Another thing is everyone has a perception of what seeing through the third eye, clairvoyance. Well, they all think that it's supposed to be a certain way. And
mhm.
seeing is different for every individual,
Yeah.
right? Some individuals will see a being standing in front of them, right?
Mm.
Other individuals will see the picture in the head. There's no right or wrong way. There is an exercise that you can do to kind of open the third eye really quickly, 5 minutes.
Okay.
All right, here's what you do. You grab a friend or a loved one. You take a sticky note. You put them up against a white or light colored wall, and you put the sticky note about 6 inches to the side and 6 inches above their head, and then have them take one step forward. And you're going to ask them to sway back and forth. And you're going to stand about 4, 5, 6 feet back. You will stare at the sticky note while they are moving and just gaze at the sticky note. It's not about laser beam, it's about gazing, softening. And what will start to happen in just a moment or two, you're going to begin to see the aura around the individual, and it's easier to see because as they're moving, it's moving with them. So
Mm,
this is something that's fun and easy to do for people to open up their third eye and their clairvoyant vision.
mhm.
Right?
Thank you.
Indeed.
That sounds like fun.
Yes.
I'll have to my son, if I ask him to do that, he's like, "What, mom? What are you
Oh,
what?" But
uh,
yes, I need a girlfriend to do that.
indeed.
Yes.
Somebody asked our channel if she did it, and she says, "No, I've only got cats."
Right, right. Oh my goodness. So, I have wonderful news. I received my sacred name.
Yes. Are you open to sharing?
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, so first, I sort of took a day off and um, I went ahead and took some mushrooms, okay, on this day here in the privacy of my home. And I have um, experienced it before, and I had no expectations of it. it was so interesting how it came about. But I was very, very emotional. I had been channeling most for hours, just sort of talking, receiving, connecting, just spending time with my dog and trying to do some healing with my dog. And then there was a moment that I was told to get my phone
Mm.
and record. I had no idea why, so I grabbed my phone and I was sitting on the floor, I hit the record button, and I'm so glad that I listened because, it was at that moment that I began channeling, and I was clearly channeling my higher self because,
Yeah.
um, they said, "We know that you have been waiting a long time for your sacred name. Your sacred name is Helena." And the moment I cannot tell you the moment it came out of my mouth, there was just this sense of just, I don't even have words. And I just started crying the moment I received it. And so it was so, so special. And it's hard to even watch it back when I watch the video. It's so hard. I was crying, crying, crying. But it was just so beautiful. And I said, why did it take so long to receive this? But I'm so glad that I have it now. And I'm just yeah, I'm just happy. It's done.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Didn't it feel like something became complete in that moment? That the, st-
Yes.
the stars aligned. Yeah.
Yes. And regarding that question, I've had some people reach out to me about how to receive their sacred name. And some people have said, I think I have my sacred name. I heard a name during meditation. Do you think that's what it is? And it's like, if it feels,
Right.
it's such a random name, then yes, it's probably your sacred name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there are a number of ways, right? The the challenge is to get out of your left brain, out of your beta mind,
Hmm.
shift into your right brain so that you're open to receive in a different way. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's a key factor because if you're concentrating so hard up in the mind,
Hmm.
it's very likely that you won't be able to receive it. But if you're opening and softening and going into that right brain, which was probably
Yeah.
where you were on your journey that day, very much in your right brain, uh,
Mm.
and it was able to make its way. And it's always divine timing, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
We tell people to create a ceremony for yourself.
Yes.
Call in all of your guides, set an intention, prepare for it, right? I'm going to do a ceremony on Saturday, and you prepare yourself. You eat well, you sleep well, you bathe before, right? Perhaps with some Epsom salts on beautiful essential oils. Then you light some candles, you say some prayers, you lay down and allow yourself to be in a meditative state, perhaps with some breath work to help you get there,
Hmm.
and just receive. Right?
Yeah.
Our channel did all of this. And then when the name came, she was like, no,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
there was no such name. And we had to walk her through what it meant and break it down for her so she could go, oh, ah,
Mm.
well, maybe maybe that's a real name and not just a phony, funky, made up song, right?
Yeah. It's so
Her name is
unusual.
her name is Melestra.
Malestra. Yes. Hmm.
People are getting used to that now, but when she first heard the name, she had a really hard time.
Mm. Hmm. Wow.
Mm.
And where do we get our sacred names from?
Well, from your soul, from your God I am presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's just a matter of what is a vibrational frequency, right? And sometimes it is uh, a distant memory, something that, the soul remembers from a different lifetime that feels sacred, right? So
Mm-hmm.
perhaps Helena was your name somewhere else
Yeah.
that now you have brought to this place in time with you, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
many different ideas about where sacred names come from, but
Sure.
those are
Beautiful. Thank you.
did.
So we had talked about connecting with archangels, ascended masters, but what about saints? Is there a benefit to calling on them for anything? Or is that more, more tied to religion?
It is. It's definitely tied to religion, but that does not make the saints any less approachable or any less powerful. They are revered as saints because of how they live their lives, and every single one of them had a beautiful vibrational frequency, right? They stood apart from most of the rest of humanity. So
Mm,
yes, indeed, calling upon them, having a relationship, a beautiful thing. They're no less helpful or loving than your angels and your ascended masters.
mhm.
Right? As a matter of fact, some of those saints have become ascended masters.
Okay. Like which ones?
Paul,
Okay.
Jesus,
Yes.
right? Magdalene.
Yes.
So those are just a few that you know, right? But there's many saints like
Mhm.
that. Joan of Arc,
Mm,
come ascended master.
okay. I wasn't aware that Joan of Arc was an ascended master. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Mhm. Thank you.
indeed.
How do departed loved ones come into our dreams?
Hmm. Well, that is a fantastic question.
Mhm.
When you are dreaming, you are no longer in the physical realm. You are in the astral plane,
Mhm.
most often in your astral body. And so your loved ones are also in the astral plane. And
Right.
so the communication through dreams becomes much easier sometimes than communication in your living room,
Mm,
right? And so that is how they're able to enter your dream state, right? Through
mm,
the astral,
mhm.
right?
Yeah. And is there a way, because it's really interesting, there are so many people that go years and years and years not connecting with their loved ones. Is there something that they can say to call
Hmm.
that experience in, so someone might dream about their loved ones?
Well, you can call upon your loved ones every day and ask them to be in your space. You can ask them to join you in the dream state. The challenge with that is that you don't always remember your dreams.
True.
So you can say, Aunt Harriet, please join me in the dream state. And Aunt Harriet shows up every time, but you don't remember, right?
Right.
And so you have the ability to connect each and every day. And it's all about what you feel, what you sense, what you know, right?
Okay.
if you'll just open up the line of communication and speak to them like they are there with you, and then receive a response. And the response isn't going to necessarily be like us speaking to you right now, but it can be an inner voice. It can be a knowing, it can be a feeling, right?
Hmm. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Mhm.
Personally, I have definitely had dreams of my loved ones, my brother. What I have noticed about my brother when I have seen him in my dream state is how serious um, he shows himself,
Hmm.
and you know, not smiling, but just there. And I've always wondered about that. I don't know. That's just my experience.
Have you asked him?
No, no, I haven't.
Well, then
Yeah.
please
Why
do.
are you so serious? Yes.
Yeah. Why am I feeling you showing up so serious? What's with that? Because you
Hmm.
don't know him that way, right?
Hmm.
Normally, I mean, he could be serious, but he also had a much brighter aspect to him. So
Yes. Okay.
ask,
I will. Thank you. Thank you.
indeed.
So I don't know what you can add to this, but when I was young, I was so obsessed with the Bermuda Triangle. I would read books about it to, that and at that time, I don't know if I knew the concept of portals. I doubt it. I was not aware. And it was such a mystery, like this triangle in the middle of the water, and boats and planes disappeared, gone. So, can you talk? Where did they go?
Yeah,
Where did
they
they go? What's happened and why yeah, what's happening there?
okay. So the Bermuda Triangle is a portal. It's a triangulation of let's just call it energy, right?
Right.
Sacred geometry.
Mm,
And so there have been those that have traveled back and forth through it, no problem at all.
wow.
And then there's those that have traveled through it that disappeared. What's the difference? Vibrational frequency is the
Mm,
difference.
mhm.
So if someone is traveling into that portal and their vibrational frequency is resonant with the portal, then they will be transported,
Wow.
right?
Okay.
Okay. And so where do they go? They move dimensionally, right? They move dimensionally.
Mhm. It makes me wonder when they arrive somewhere else what that experience looks like. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It is quite confusing. It's very much like the conversation about the walk-ins, right? When when
Yes,
when
yes.
when they land, it's confusing. Yeah.
So let's talk about walk-ins because that I know that is the huge question. I have been wanting to ask you this question now for quite some time, but I was holding back. I was holding back for some of the listeners to just get used to you and right and start to open up to some of these strange topics that they've
Yeah.
never heard
Well,
of.
yeah.
And I personally have had sessions with my clients that learn that they are walk-in souls. So let's just rewind and tell us, what is a walk-in soul?
All right. A walk-in soul is a soul that by agreement comes into a physical body when the soul that is inhabited it since birth leaves, right?
Mhm.
Takes advantage of its exit strategy. When it's complete And the reason that the soul will walk in is that most of the time it's, grown, people that are a little bit older, grown-ups, right? Not
Mhm.
necessarily babies. Babies and toddlers don't usually have walk-in experiences. It's
Okay.
usually a little bit older, so that that soul can kind of hit the ground running with its purpose when it gets here. Instead of coming in as a baby and have to worry about staying awake until it gets old enough to do what it's here to do. I
Mhm. So these are awakened souls
Yes,
that
the
need a body.
Mhm.
They don't want to start early, young, learn all of the walking, talking. They are ready to jump into a physical
Oh,
body. It's usually an adult.
yeah. Usually, right, teenage to adult. There have been some younger ones that have experienced walking, and that can it's it's really confusing for
Yeah.
younger children. It's very confusing. And so over time it's kind of become uh the phenomena that they wait for someone to get a little bit older. So yeah, and there's different types of walk-ins, right? There's the one that is the full soul exchange, where one soul leaves and a new soul steps in and takes that body and moves forward, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Then there are things called soul braiding, where there is your soul and another
Oh.
soul, usually higher vibrational soul, will braid with your soul. And so it's like a twofer, right? Two
Yeah.
souls, right? And that usually propels your spiritual evolution when that happens. And there's, uh those are the two main ways that the walk-in happens, but yeah, it can be challenging, right? The
Mhm.
soul that lands here takes a little while to understand the parameters of where they are and where they need
Yes.
to be and what they're doing. It can
Right.
be, yeah,
So my understanding is that sometimes someone will have a car accident or an accident or or become very ill.
mhm,
And this is when the exchange might happen,
yeah,
where in this car accident, the original soul actually dies and
right,
says, This is
right,
it's chosen that exit plan
yeah.
while the new soul is ready to come in. And they're going to have to go through that process of recovery.
Right, right. But
Yes.
there's other ways that the walk-in happens
Yes.
against illness
Illness.
through extreme trauma where
Okay.
where death doesn't necessarily happen, but someone checks out. It's a Yeah, it's a trauma
Yes.
response. They check out, the new soul steps in. Uh, then anesthesia, when someone is in the hospital having a surgical procedure, uh,
Mm.
is another way. Even when you go to your dentist and they give you laughing gas, sometimes there's just enough space that the new soul can slip in. Now, you're not being taken over.
That's right.
Yeah,
This is not
right.
possession.
This is not possession.
Right.
This is an agreement, and it only happens when the soul that has been inhabiting the body is complete. And so instead of the whole body dying, the new soul steps in to keep the body and moves forward. Okay?
Hmm. Yeah. And while we're on this topic, Wendy is a walk-in.
Indeed.
All right. And she did share, she's going to be sharing at the end. She was talking to me before we hit the record button, but we're going to talk a little bit more
Oh,
about her experience. But she did give permission for you to talk about it.
ah, wow.
So,
Well, that's one of the reasons that Metatron has connected with Mayra, because we have work to do to assist the walk-ins on the planet. And
ah,
what they call the walk-in phenomenon is becoming more frequent. There's more and more and more walk-in souls, and that happens during times of great evolutionary challenges and growth. And the walk-ins are here to assist Gaia, to assist humanity and the collective
mhm,
consciousness. So uh our channel, you know, was all right. So her story is that there is the possibility that your soul can inhabit more than one body around this planet and in other dimensions as well.
correct.
And this individual, Wendy, right? uh her mother's soul is what resided within her, right?
Mm.
Her,
Before.
before.
Okay.
So her mother died shortly before our channel's 40th birthday, and there is a was a process of reclaiming, taking her soul back, soul retrieval. So when that was occurring, then the soul of Mea seated in the body, and Wendy's soul went back to Wendy's mother. It feels a little convoluted, it's hard to
Yes.
understand, but
It's a fragment, correct?
yeah, right.
It,
A fragmented soul, and now what has stepped in is, male lustra.
mm,
Male lustra is what is called an oraphim, and oraphim are a part of the angelic realm, uh,
okay.
not necessarily uh, one that everybody thinks about, right? Like
Okay.
the archangels, right? But she is an oraphim, and that is her.
Never heard that before.
Yes,
Okay.
indeed,
Oraphim.
oraphim.
Hmm.
Yes. And so that is what stepped into this physical body.
Hmm.
And then we began to get gather gather things up so that we could move forward together. Right?
Sure, sure. How does the exchange of memories, though? Wendy is a mother. She
Mhm.
raised her children, and now she's in her 40s. Her original soul says, "Bye,
Right.
I'm out." New one steps in. How does the exchange of memories happen so she could know her past?
Right. Well, and it varies from walk-in to walk-in, right? Some will remember nothing. They'll wake up after the experience and it's like, who am I? Well, what am I doing here? I got to get out of here. For our channel, uh, her marriage ended, her job changed, everything changed because it no longer worked for this soul, right?
Sure.
But she did remember her children. She doesn't remember all of the memories like most mothers
The
will.
highlights. Yeah.
Highlights, right? Oh,
Yes.
I remember when they were this age and that age, but she remembers her children, just not the specifics. A lot for her became very, very, very fuzzy, and she'd have to work very hard to remember things. Now, it's not just about memory. Don't forget that each each experience is imprinted upon the soul, and imprinted within the DNA and in cellular structure, right?
Hmm.
So she could dig deep and find a piece of information, but not
Okay.
always. Yeah,
Hmm.
not always.
And so that sort of explains when people do have accidents and they wake up and have amnesia. They're
Mhm.
probably walk-ins, right?
It's possible, right?
Mhm.
And we're not going to say that
All of
everybody
them.
can't remember, because
Hmm.
traumatic brain injury can also create that.
Hmm.
But there certainly have been more than you can count souls that have walked in during, accidents and things like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
And so Wendy became ill, correct?
Yes. 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 On her 40th birthday,
Huh?
there was a very virulent flu going around that year, and she got what they thought was the flu. And she was very, very ill, kind of came back from that and, started re-entering life again. You know how it is after the
Mhm.
flu. And she got hit again, and she was down a second time, and it was worse the second time. They thought, just a relapse.
Mhm.
Until it happened a third time, right? And they almost took her to the hospital that time because things were a little sketchy.
Mhm.
And so when she came back from that, and it's like one day she just sat up and went, I'm a healer.
Okay. Wow.
Not, hello, I'm feeling better, I'm a healer. And you have to understand that our channel comes from a very Christian background, right?
Okay.
She had never read anything metaphysical, right? Kind of, that was just not in her bandwidth. And to come back and go, wow, I'm a healer, I better get started,
Mm.
right? And so at that juncture, everything changed. She
Sure.
was someone who no longer uh, uh, was in alignment with her husband.
Mm.
That was hard. They are still friends. Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, still
What
friends.
what other what symptoms would someone experience
Okay.
after that exchange happens?
So when that exchange happens, many individuals can't figure out why they're here in this body, what the heck. uh, they don't recognize friends and family. They can't do the job they've been hired to do anymore because they no longer have that gift, right? That
Okay.
talent for a particular job. They are confused. There's sometimes people will go to the doctor and be diagnosed as schizophrenic, which is not not always the case, right? Uh, and put on medication. So
Mhm.
there's some challenges, right? Some
Mhm.
people have a bumpy landing. And
Sure.
and then there are others that walk in, and it seems to be like, okay, I'm here. This is let's go, right?
Yeah.
It
Wow.
it took our channel a while. It was a real journey to even understand what a walk-in was, because she had no understanding of that whatsoever.
Yes, yes.
Took a while.
Sure. Is there such a thing as having multiple walk-in experiences in one life?
It's possible, yes.
Wow. Is
Yeah.
that kind of does that sort of say that the original soul is pretty advanced and look, I'm here for just this and then I'm out?
Well, normally the walk-in souls have a specific purpose.
Mhm.
Right? And, you know, they're here, they're usually helpers, right?
Yes. Okay.
And so and it's also contract, also agreement on all levels, right? So if a soul walked in, so male Lestra's in this physical body at this time. If male Lestra completes her her purpose, her journey,
Mhm.
then it is possible that she will leave and another soul can step in, right? That's possible.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. Very interesting. So I will say at this moment, if you're interested in hearing one of my sessions, it is currently on YouTube. It is called the Walkin Soul. And my client discovered in her session, after having a very tragic accident, everyone in the car passed away except her. And this is where we discovered that she is a walk in from another planet.
No,
Okay.
this was an agreement, something that has been planned for a very long time.
I see. I see. Okay. That makes sense. So it is, again, there's no possession. This is all planned. I love that.
Yes,
Mm,
yes, indeed.
beautiful.
And you know, it seems like something that is so odd when you think about it. But we will say that more people than not have met or know someone who is a walk-in.
That does not surprise me. Hmm.
And so they're not scary. There's no evil involved. It is just a soul exchange.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Indeed.
This will be very interesting for people to soak
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, and if there's anyone that feels that they are walking, then, and need assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out
Hmm.
because that's what we do. We help walk-ins get their feet planted in the right direction and understand their purpose and, kind of get them out the door and doing what they need to do. Right?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Indeed.
Well, I will go ahead and ask one more question from a follower.
Okay.
Um, what do animals think about being euthanized?
Mm, that is a fascinating question. And we would say that animals, they have no quote unquote opinion about being euthanized, right?
Mm,
They don't have a mindset that I am going to die in this moment. Animals are so much in the present moment, so much in the flow of things
mm,
that they are just able to release and let go. So they're not in fear. People who have to put their animals to sleep because they're ill or injured, right? The animal uh, does not feel fear about dying.
okay.
It feels the pain in the body, it feels the sickness, but it's not anticipating, right, fear of passing. So understand that when you have to let your animals go in that way, you are assisting them so that they are not suffering, right?
Hmm. Thank
No
you.
grudges held. You will often find them still in your space.
Hmm. Hmm. Thank you.
It's the ultimate act of love sometimes.
Hmm. Hmm. All
Mhm.
right. Thank you.
Indeed.
Can you talk a little bit more about what 2024 is
Mm.
going to bring?
We'll
We had
have you.
talked about the sink or swim, but what more um, are we going to be experiencing?
So you've already in January been feeling the energies of 2024, and it's going to kind of continue to heat up each month. And so how quickly this month has gone and how full it's been, it's going to continue like a snowball, right? Rolling down a hill,
Okay.
picking up speed as the year goes on. Some things that are really important this year. Intention is really important, and having an intention about everything in your life, not just uh, saying, oh, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Creating an intention for yourself. What I intend, I intend my abundance. I intend my health and well-being. I intend. That is one of the keys this year as well. Don't resist.
Mm.
Everything you've heard, everything that you resist persists. Well, this year it's going to be like the universe pulls the slingshot back and lets it go right into the, center of your forehead. Those things that you're avoiding, those things that you don't want to look at, those relationships that you're just ignoring because they don't work, they're going to be up, and they'll be up in your face because it is that energy of let's let's move, right? People are not going to feel as stuck this year because everything's going to kind of be moving.
Okay.
um Having mindfulness, and we know that you spoke to our woman about mindfulness today, being present, being in your body.
Mhm.
Really, everybody that's on the spiritual path has a tendency to want to be in the upper chakras. It feels good. That's where it feels connected to spirit. But this year, what's really important is to remember to open, clear, and activate the lower chakras as well. So you're fully embodying yourself, right? Your
Okay. Hmm.
higher self, your sovereign being. The three lower chakras are going to help you to be stable in all of these moving energies.
Mm.
Also going to help you be less in your head because it'll draw the energy down,
Oh,
right? Give it a good base. So those are some things that are important this year to pay attention to.
yeah. And so what are the best exercises to ground and to utilize those lower chakras?
Okay, so there's all kinds of chakra meditations, right?
Mm.
But what we have been teaching is just sit quietly, imagine that you're drawing source energy down through your central energy core, all the way down to your root chakra, and just hold it for a moment and then release it down and into the earth. And
Mm.
that will help to open and clear those lower chakras and anchor you into earth as well. If you are used to grounding, we're going to ask you to be intentional in opening and clearing each of your chakras as you ground, right? And it doesn't have to take long. You just mindfully pay attention to each of your energy centers, fill them with light, open them up, run the energy down. All right.
Thank you.
Indeed.
It's always a pleasure, Metatron.
Our pleasure as well.
Thank you so much.
Indeed. Uh,
Until next time.
Yes, indeed. Until next time. Mm. Thank you, Myra. Mm.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Mm.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Get a sip of my water so I can get back in my body. Ooh.
Yeah. Fascinating. Always. Yes. Yeah. And so we did talk about walk-ins, and I'd love for you to share from, obviously, from your personal experience.
Mhm.
Um, because I'm sure there's going to be listeners that had never heard of this. And here's Wendy. She's just, yeah, I mean, yes, there's no judgment at all. That's what Metatron said. Don't be afraid.
Right,
But can you talk a little bit about when you got sick and you
right,
were hit repeatedly?
right.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, you know, have you ever been so sick that you're neither here nor there? That's what it felt like for me. And this actually went on for about 5 to 6 weeks. I can't even remember how long it was. Um, because I was so in and out of
Yeah.
the body. But I was sick, just get well, get sick again. And it was a real process. When I finally woke up at the end of being sick, I felt different.
Mm, mm.
And I had no idea. I had no idea. And there's that initial thought like, oh my gosh, am I going crazy? Am I, what the heck's going on with me? I
Yeah.
have different response to everything. I like different food. I was not in harmony with my spouse any longer. Just everything seemed to have felt like it changed, and that window of time seemed like it stretched for 10 years instead of 5 weeks. It was just really strange.
Wow.
And so um I kept in the relationship, kept going to work, trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And then I was living near Santa Monica, California at the time, and there's a big open mall
Mm.
there. I was there with friends.
Yeah. Third Street Promenade.
Third Street Promenade. I spent a lot of time at Third Street Promenade. Loved it there. Uh,
Yeah.
there with two of my girlfriends and a man dressed in full buckskin with big long ponytail, feathers, approached me and said, "Spirit wants me to let you know that you're a walk-in." And then he just turns around and walks away. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? What's a walk-in? Right? What's a
Yeah.
And I had no idea, and I just kind of blew it off, like, another crazy in Santa Monica, right?
Yeah. And
And
I wonder who he was too.
I have no idea. Um, but it took 6 times, 6 different situations where I was told that spirit wanted me to know that I'm a
Wow.
walk-in before before I was like, what the heck is going on?
What does that mean?
What does it
Yes.
mean? What does it have to do with my life? And
Yeah.
so I was lucky enough to find someone that helped me to figure some things out. But it was really quite a long process of self-discovery
Mm,
because it really opened. That's when I began to study healing. And shortly after that, channeling, it was just a 360 difference in who and what
mm.
I had been my whole life. My kids recognized that I was different. My spouse recognized that I was different. We're still
Mhm.
friends, by the way.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and it's just he doesn't know about the walk-in part of it because when when I, when we separated, I didn't know, right? It's
Sure.
been a real journey to understand where I came from, what's the point. I always tell people I still have to clean the cat box, right?
Yes.
Still, it's not, it
Still have
does,
laundry.
yes,
Nothing.
still have
Yes.
laundry, right? Still have aches and pains, but
Sure.
it's just a different soul, a different path is
Right.
really simply what it is. Different soul, different path. So yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, not not an expected thing at all.
No, no, it's not. Oh, well, I really appreciate you sharing your personal experience. Yeah, it's when I remember learning that you were a walk-in um during class at some point. I think it was Metatron that he just spills your tea. He spills your tea. And I was like, oh my God, she's a walk-in. I definitely want to talk to her about that. So, but I do
Yeah.
appreciate you sharing with the listeners today.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that's one of the things that's happening with Metatron and I this year is he's creating a support group for walk-ins, and he's creating a way for people that are walk-ins that are struggling to, to work with him a little bit to get their feet planted in the right direction. So,
Ah,
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What else do you have going on, Wendy?
Well, tomorrow night we have tea and wisdom with Metatron. We're doing that about once a month. Next month, we're
Yes.
doing You're Seeing Double, where I'll be tandem channeling Metatron with our friend
Oh,
Kelly Brown.
okay. Hmm.
And then leading a retreat in April. Uh, it's probably going to be a cruise down to the Florida Keys and then to Bahamas. And uh, the theme of the cruise, the workshop is healing the Atlantis wound. And so, yeah, going to France,
Beautiful.
leading a retreat to France in June, leading a retreat to Sedona in September. So
Yes, yes. That's
lots of
wonderful.
good stuff. It's
Mm,
all
that
on the
the one for France, that's um with Magdalene, correct?
yes,
It's
that's a Magdalene retreat. Yes.
and you actually go to where Magdalene lived.
Yes.
Oh, that is just beautiful.
Yes. Yes.
Very
Yes.
special. You've
Yes.
been there before, haven't you?
I have not.
No?
I
Okay.
haven't. I haven't.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't
Yeah,
ever.
wow, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. And after that, there's going to be like an add-on for people who want to do it. We'll go to Paris and spend some time in Paris.
Yeah, some fun
Well, if
time.
we're there, we might as well.
Might as well. Yes. Thank you so much, Wendy.
You're welcome. Thank you, Myra. It's always fun.
Yes, it is. Until next time,
Yes. Be well.
you too.